Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Season 7 of Stand Up and Stand Out. Párate y desdécate. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Nikki Green. As a life and business resiliency expert, I thought we would share some stories of resilience this season. It's also the 1-year anniversary of Chameleon Mindset, my best-selling book, and we are giving away a bunch of great prizes and deep discounts on my coaching programs to celebrate. Be sure to check the show notes of each episode to learn more and follow me on social media. I hope you're enjoying Season 7, and I look forward to hearing your feedback and comments on the fascinating topics we're going to cover with each guest. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this next episode of Stand Up and Stand Out. Párate y desdécate. We have another amazing guest here today. Scott Aaron is here to talk to us about LinkedIn. Hi, Scott. How are you doing today?
Hi, Nikki. I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for the opportunity to speak.
I love to hear some people's insights into LinkedIn because there's so much going on with these platforms. And I know LinkedIn has even changed some things recently, but I know LinkedIn isn't where you started. So maybe share a little bit about kind of how you got into this business and why you love helping people with LinkedIn.
I was a traditional brick and mortar business owner. So I owned 3 different health clubs in the Philadelphia area. 2 were more so in the center city area of Philadelphia, and 1 was on the outskirts. So that started from 1998 to 2016. And in around 2013, as a personal trainer and sports nutritionist, I traded time for dollars. So if I wasn't training someone or doing the nutritional counseling, I wasn't earning revenue. And my book was completely full. So I really couldn't take any more clients on. And I was trying to figure out a way to leverage the online space to do more, online nutritional coaching, online workouts where it didn't require me to be in person. And I had more capacity to take on clients, less in person. So when I started to look at the demographics of the people that I was serving in person, they were all business professionals, either coming to see me on their way to work, on their lunch break, or on their way home from work. So I started to think about, okay, if this is my in-person demographic, there has to be an online demographic of these same people. And I started to think, well, social media wise, where am I more likely than not to run into business professionals that would also be interested in more of a premium service that I'm providing, whether it's workout or nutritional counseling. And that's where kind of LinkedIn bubbled up for me. I had started a profile back in 2009, and it basically collected dust for about 4 years. And at that point, I said, let me go on and kind of check things out. And at that time, when I jumped on back into LinkedIn in 2013, they were just purchased by Microsoft. So they became more of an up-leveled search engine, but also networking application. And I said, this may be a better fit. So I jumped on there and I, kind of reworked my profile. I started searching and connecting for local and national business professionals in various industries that matched what the industries that my in-person clients were. Started messaging, started providing content. And within about 6 months, I had matched my revenue online as I was making in person. And at that point, I said, I really should start not picking up in person and start doing more of the online stuff, which I started to transition at that point. And just like anything that you figure out that works, I started reaching out to some friends of mine who were also in the online wellness space. And I said, you really need to take a look at LinkedIn. I know you're maybe doing some stuff on Instagram and Facebook, but LinkedIn may be a really, key thing for you to kind of start to leverage. So I kind of showed some of the friends of mine that what I was doing, what they can do to update their profile and how, and just kind of like the basics of whatever I was doing. And then one friend in particular reached back out to me about 2 weeks later, and he texted me, he said, "Can you talk?" And I said, "Sure, absolutely." So I got on a call with him and I said, "What's up?" And he goes, "Dude, listen, whatever you figured out, it's really working because I have 14 appointments booked this week. You should be teaching this to other people." And I said, "Well, what do you mean teaching it?" He said, "Well, just like you personal train people for their bodies, you could start personal training people for their business." He goes, "It's the same thing. You're just leveraging a different skill set, which is sales and lead gen and client acquisition." And I said, "Huh, that's interesting." So at that same time, I ended up going on a podcast with my business coach that I had at the time. And he was just asking me questions about, what I had been doing with LinkedIn, how it was working. And I was just kind of spouting out all the market research that I've been doing and all the feedback that I was getting and all the results that I was actually getting for my business. And after I jumped off that call, I had 8 inboxes on Facebook of Facebook friends of mine that wanted to pay me to teach them how to use LinkedIn. And it was kind of like unexpected. So the intention was never to turn this into a coaching business, but people were willing to pay for my time because they valued it. So I said, there's obviously a gap in the marketplace and people are looking to learn how to leverage LinkedIn genuinely and authentically. So that's when I started coaching people in 2014. And that's obviously led to a membership, a coaching program, a virtual program, books, keynotes. So I guess the rest, they say, is history.
It's awesome. That's such a great story. And I think it's smart for all of us, right? We start in some area that is a passion for us, and it doesn't mean the other thing needs to go away. Sometimes we're just adding other services on because there's lots of people trying to open wellness businesses that may need these services as well. So sometimes there's a crossover. But I think it's special because LinkedIn, I don't think there's as many people specializing it. I think there's a lot of people that kind of generally specialize in social media or content marketing. But I think doing LinkedIn specifically is really smart. And I think it's going to continue to grow and flourish. I know there's been maybe a little bit of backlash lately since the pandemic where people were a little less professional on LinkedIn than maybe they were recently. But I think the addition of video and some of these other things are really great ways for us to showcase our work no matter what our business might be. So maybe share a little bit about what are some unique ways that you kind of coach clients of really genuinely connecting with people and not kind of being more on that sales pushy kind of side of what we've seen on LinkedIn.
Well, some of the mistakes that people make, well, number one, we're not allowed to use any automated services that connect and message for us. And I don't think people recognize that. So when you sign up for an account on LinkedIn, there's an agreement box to agree to the terms, conditions, and the user agreement of LinkedIn. And one of the do nots that we are forbidden to do is use third-party applications and marketing companies that connect and message for us. They used to just restrict people's accounts, but now they're actually just deleting them altogether. So if anyone is listening to this or watching this has ever gotten one of those 18-paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages, that's most likely someone using automated software. And the big thing is you're looking to create a human connection aspect to what you're doing on the platform. And no one likes being sold and pitched to, including the person that's sending the message. So my wife and I always talk about something called the smell test. And if the message that you're about to send stinks, don't send it. But I would say rule of thumb, before you hit the send button on a message, ask yourself, if this was sent to me, would I respond to it myself? So I think being self-aware and self-accountable to our own actions will allow for better results. So when I'm crafting a message on LinkedIn, I'm crafting it in the perspective of not only me being my own best client, but also the people that I'm looking to market with and to would also get a high response rate. And, time and time again with the clients that we work with, they're getting an average of a 30 to 50% response rate of people wanting to talk, when typical right now is maybe a 10 to 20% response rate because of all the spam that's going on the platform. And that's not, I feel bad for the people that are doing it the right way, because the people that have done it the wrong way are ruining it for the people that are doing it the right way. So you really need to make sure that everything that you do is with genuine and, I would say, authentic intention of wanting to build the relationship side of a connection rather than selling and pitching. So you have to build the know, like, and trust. And again, that could be done through the onset of an initial message. It could be done through the onset of value-added content that you post, or just engaging in those people's content without any back-end initiative, like not leading it to anywhere. And that's the thing. Well, people say, well, how do I generate sales and revenue on LinkedIn? That comes over time as you build the know, like, and trust with all the connections that you've built.
And that's really smart because I think so many people are in it for this very transactional, like, well, I did this, so I get this back, right? And it really doesn't work that way. We've kind of forgotten the social aspect of social media. And the more we can build that deeper connection with people, I know you talk about relationship marketing is it's more than just like brand awareness and getting out there, but even just engaging in posts, even people you don't know, it's maybe 2 or 3 connections away. You're not going to get closer to that person by just sending random messages. If you imagine you're actually a real person in a real room, you wouldn't just walk up to people and start doing those same conversations. And so I think taking that step back to just say hi in other ways, I think will take people so much further. And obviously you found a really great magic formula there to do that.
It took time. It wasn't always that perfect. It's, a lot of what I teach is based on mistakes that I have made. So I don't want other people to make those same mistakes.
Well, and I know that you run a wonderful business with your wife, and having my parents, they had a barbershop for 20 plus years. I know it was a great thing for our family that, everyone was kind of in it together. So maybe talk about how that came about and, how you enjoy working with your wife.
Yeah, so I come from a background of family-owned businesses. So my parents and myself ran our gyms together. It had its moments. I would say more good than bad, but the bad were really bad, and it's better that we're not in business anymore. How it came about with my wife is she was kind of watching from afar what I was doing with my LinkedIn coaching and consulting. She had recently left corporate. She was a mid-level executive at 2 Fortune 50 companies, managing teams of 300 to 500. But the work-life balance was not there. She ended up getting burnout, adrenal fatigue, ended up getting hyperthyroidism, Hashimoto's, and she's doing great now. But it really was a big mirror turning moment for her that she needed to do something else. So she was on Reddit, and she was reading a thread of this guy that, similar to her, was in a high-stress job and left on a dime to start a remote house cleaning business from an app on his phone. And she said, well, I can do that. And that's what she did. So she put her 2 weeks notice in, and she started a remote house cleaning business from her phone, grew it to almost multiple 6 figures in 18 months. And when we were kind of like, meeting at that kind of meeting point, she was really taking notice to what I was doing. The house cleaning business, since she was just running it, she wasn't cleaning. She had cleaners for that. It wasn't taking up a lot of her time. But she had a marketing background in college, and she was really seeing me struggle in certain areas of the back end type of stuff, whether it was lead magnets or email funnel, KPIs, website optimization, my business structure, the ladder of value, different products, services, and offerings, just the whole organization of what I was doing. So she started to step in and help me with some of the back end stuff. But more importantly, we had 2 failed attempts at hiring marketing companies to help us with what we were doing, because no one knows your business better than you. And when someone tries to tell you what is best for you, it's not going to work. So at that point, Nancy started doing some contract work for some high-level business coaches to get a better idea of what we needed to do and what we needed to have in place. And she spent about a year to a year and a half working with some of the top online marketing companies out there to really get some hands-on experience. She brought that back into what we were doing. And then we joined forces in 2017. 2020 is when the light bulb went off. We were in a group coaching mastermind where initially I wanted to really grow and scale the LinkedIn side of what I was doing with a high-level LinkedIn mastermind. And she had the idea of doing something that she wanted to do. And they basically said, you guys are already basically working together. Why don't you take, your zone of genius, her zone of genius, and mesh it into one? And that's when we created our Expert Authority Mastermind, which then led to a foundational program called Expert Foundations, which also led Nancy to starting our content repurposing agency called BYOB Agency, which then led to us starting our own social media posting platform called BYOB Social. And now that's what we're running. So we have 3 different arms to the business. My wife and our team run the agency side. I run the LinkedIn side of things with my LinkedIn virtual program, my membership, and my coaching, consulting, and speaking. And then we run our Expert Authority and Expert Foundations membership together.
It's so amazing. I really love it. And it's such a great success story. And I know some people get worried about, going into business with friends or partners. But I do think that they know you best. And especially when you have complementary, skills like that, it can really work out for the best. You kind of just stay in your own wheelhouse, but put them together the best that you can. And I love that each of you still built your own businesses as well, continuing down the path of things that were interesting for you. And I can tell by, your website and your lead magnets, there's just a really smooth transition for customers to feel very natural to be able to get into that funnel. It's not over, ClickFunnels-y and salesy. It's just a really natural, like, oh, this can help you. Even this free resource can be of use. I walked through the funnel earlier today just to check it out. But I think that's where I'm seeing a lot of people struggle as well. People that I'm seeing going into businesses are focusing so much on the creative side. They're missing a lot of those foundations that, they need behind the scenes. So I know it's a great service that you guys are also helping people with is let's get those structures, let's get that organization in place, because then you can do so much more when you're not worrying so much about all those day-to-day things. So how about that program? Are you getting a lot of good traction there? Are you definitely seeing the same thing in the market? We need more people working on the foundations than just the creative side.
Yeah. For us, we ended up releasing a book last month called The Feel Good Business Model. It's a collaborative book that her and I wrote together in 36 days. And because, we've streamlined and we've grown our business in a way where we have high revenue, low overhead, which is, high profit. And we have a very small and mighty team. And we work 3 days a week now. And we want to teach other people how to do the same thing. And all we did was kind of track everything that we have and had put into place from 2017 until now. And we just put it into book form. So it goes over all the things that we have done, and it encapsulates the possibilities that every entrepreneur has, no matter whether they're in the inception stage, whether they're in the beginning stages or the growth and scaling stages. There are always pieces of the puzzle that need to be put together. And what people need to understand is that the foundations of business are the same across the board. There is nothing really new out there. You talk about the different arms of your business. There's your marketing, there's your branding, there's your sales, there's the infrastructure in your team, and there's your financials. There's five. So whether it's an online business or a brick and mortar, every single business is predicated and built around the same 5 core functions. And it's just a matter of really maximizing all the efforts that you have within the 5 arms of those businesses. So we like to really teach people not only streamlined processes, but simplified processes, because what we found is that there's people that lily pad from one program to the next, to the next, to the next. And then before they know it, they have just a ton of shelf help. They have all these books that they haven't read. They have all these podcast episodes they haven't listened to. They have all these courses that they've purchased that they haven't even opened the welcome email to. They join masterminds and they don't show up for any of the calls. And there is so much wasted opportunity out there right now. It's as simple as this. If you set your goals and you know what your North Star is, you have your compass going in that direction, and you take action on what you want to achieve, you're going to get results. And the fact of the matter is that we tell people, block out all the other noise. The problem with social media right now is if people spend too much time on it, they will see carrots being dangled in front of their faces every single minute, which then seem exciting, because anything new is really exciting and you want to kind of dive into it, but you have to resist those temptations. Because if you're focusing on 8 things at once, you're giving about 11.5% of energy to those 8 things. which means you're not going to get any results, as opposed to focusing on one thing and giving 100% of your energy to it.
And I think I'm seeing that a lot is everyone's looking for like that one next magic solution that's going to fix all their problems, and all they're doing is layering. My coach calls them course junkies, where you just keep taking another course, waiting for the next thing. And it's important for us to continue to educate ourselves and learn, but at the time where you have the capacity to not just learn the information, but actually apply it to your business. I think I was fortunate in my corporate job is that I was able to, part of my job was doing sales forecasting with the sales team. So every single week, I spent my entire Monday going through the forecast, knowing what was going on all around the globe. And so that put in a really good regimen for me personally in my business to make sure I was doing the same thing. And when I talk to most people, they don't have that kind of discipline. Like it's, I got to post on social media, make newsletters, and, and those things are important to build the marketing funnel. But at the end of the day, if you're not closing sales, then you're closing the doors. So you got to keep it moving. And I love that Nancy really got to go into real world, go do some really investigative reporting, basically by going into another business, a couple other businesses, learn what's working, what's not, and then go apply it to your business. I think too many people are looking at courses in the wrong way too. They're buying courses of other people's things or things they think they need. Instead of, when I ask them, do you take someone's course that's similar to yours? Do you even know how to put a value proposition together, to compare the two products? And they're like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I mean, the two big things is making sure that you're relevant, but also you're streamlined. So the fact is that we always teach what we do and we don't teach what we don't do. And the fact is that if you're out of date or out of touch with certain strategies, that means your business is going to become out of date. And I see too many programs out there that are still teaching the same core principles for the last 6, 8, 10 years. And to be blind and to think that marketing and branding and social media and sales have not changed over the last 8, 10, 12 years, you're literally just being blind to it. So with us, and to Nancy's credit, market research is a huge part of our business. So we're always listening to podcasts on, the latest updates. Like, this month, API insights changed with Facebook groups. So now third-party posting platforms cannot post to Facebook groups anymore. So Hootsuite, Buffer, Ours, all third-party posting platforms cannot post to Facebook groups anymore. And the way that we stay on top of that is we listen to marketing podcasts. We listen to and read marketing blogs on social media. So we know, because we can't expect to know everything. So the teacher is always the student. So we never think that we know everything. There's always something to learn that's also going to be applicable to something that we can teach, and then showcase that within any of the programs that we have. And we also try to be very versatile in the sense that we don't want there to be an aspect or an arm of our business that we don't know how to do. Like, I know how to go in and set out email broadcasts. I know how to go into the websites and update things. I know how to go to our sales pages and update the information. I know how to. So you do have to get your hands dirty in your business. And I think there's a lot of people that want to either set it and forget it, or they outsource too quickly. And when you outsource too quickly, you're outsourcing yourself too quickly. And if you don't have a 10,000 foot view of what's going on in your business, you may lose your business, and we don't want to see that happen.
Such important advice. I mean, being actually a part of your business. I know, there's things we don't want to do, but at the beginning, you really have to be involved, and you have to make sure your voice is there, that what you're trying to convey is there, and that ultimately people get you as the product, because that's what they're buying. And you can start to get people when you get to that scale, but again, they need to be a bit behind the scenes, just taking care of kind of the day to day. And you always need to have that integral part of, making sure things are running properly. And if something breaks at the end of the day, it's you. Well, Scott, I know people are going to want to get a hold of you to learn more, and possibly, take some of your services. So why don't you let folks know where they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, obviously, if you just go on there and just search Scott Aaron, I'll populate. Or if you just do www.linkedin.com/IN/Scott Aaron Coach, that's where you'll find me. But it's always best to go to our website, thetimetogrowth.com. There's a free business assessment on there. So for people that are really looking to see what holes and gaps are actually in your business, we have a free quiz on there that kind of tells you, okay, here are the things that you need to focus on. And then obviously you can learn more about our Expert Authority Mastermind, which we open a couple times a year, and also our Expert Foundations program, which people can roll into at any point. The Expert Foundations program membership is 6 months. And then the Expert Authority Mastermind is a year-long program where we teach people how to become the experts in their space through the systems that we've put into place and structure them towards each individual business owner. So if you want to learn more, you can always go there, or you can email me, scott@scottaaron.net.
Beautiful. Oh, so awesome. I learned so much again from you, Scott. I had a great time. I had a great time on your show as well. I'm sure we'll connect again, probably on LinkedIn, but you never know where paths might cross.
Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, thank you all for joining today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Stand Up and Stand Out. Please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe, like, hit the bell, whatever it is on the platform you love to watch us. And if you want to watch the next episode, you'll find us wherever all the cool kids hang out that do podcasts. Bye, everyone.